yourself like you do your business. When I went to the DJ Collective last year, I'll be honest with you, I spent more money on clothes. I was like, I know there's going to be some really high-end planners there. I need to impress these people with my best self. So it's funny, I was talking to somebody and said, I'm not dressing as me right now. I'm dressing for the me that I want to be. I'm spending more money on things because I want to impress the right people in the right place. So Joe Bond, you did a great job with that DJ Collective, by the way. I did make some really awesome connections. But I did pay attention to all of this. And like I mentioned earlier, in the yachting industry, I couldn't show up like this. I couldn't have purple hair, I couldn't have tattoos, and I couldn't have piercings. So you can't really be authentic, even if you work for Disney. You got a very strict dress code, so it's kind of impossible if you're working for other people sometimes to be yourself, and that's one of the reasons I did go into business for myself, because first I was going to be a teacher and tell kids, don't do drugs, and then go home and smoke a whole bunch of weed. So I was like, I'm not being a hypocrite, I'm just not. Brand photographers. This picture right here, it changed my life. You want to know why? Because the photographer that I worked with showed me a me that I had never seen before. I'm like, that's me? First of all, I look 6 feet tall. Yeah, I love it. But, and sometimes when people even think, I thought you were taller. Well, yeah, I know, everybody thinks I'm taller. But that picture, when I launched that out into the universe, people saw me as more than just a DJ. They saw me as a professional DJ. I now had a brand. My pictures were now part of my branding, whereas before, I was Selfie City. Not impressing anybody. Anybody gets selfie, but you get the right photographer, and his wife was a stylist. So, I mean, I'm not saying I look beautiful in that picture. I'm just saying it's a picture of me that showed me what they saw that I didn't see. And so if you find a photographer who does that for you, continue to work with them. Don't let them out of your life. I swear to God, let them bring out the best of you as often as you can afford to book them. Constantly update your pictures. When I changed my hair color every other freaking 6 months the last few years, I kept doing photo shoots. When I lost like 15 pounds, I did a photo shoot. I feel like I'm gaining more, I gotta have to do another one. Like, it is what it is, but just whoever you are, let them know so that they know who's showing up. Don't do this. Just take a look. I can't. All right. I'm going to be completely authentic right now. My pictures have a filter on them usually, and my photographer has a really good ring light. But I do not have Facetune. I don't change my body. I don't edit like to make my nose smaller or anything like that. I might just have a filter that gets rid of like stuff. So I encourage you to do the same. When you show up, obviously you look great 20 years ago. You're freaking hot. But you're not so bad now either. Give yourself some credit. 20 years is hard on us. I don't know how much time I have. How am I doing? Good? All right. I don't have time or anything. Okay. So establishing connections, and this is how you're going to build part of your community, which is super freaking important. You're going to connect mostly over social media through your shared hobbies and interests and pets, experiences. You're going to show them how you're interesting, because otherwise, how do they know? So I know, who can I use as an example? All right, let's use Rachel, DJ Rachel. She loves her pizza, right? She can post a lot of pizza content, and she, I'm sure, receives a lot of pizza content, right? But that's her thing. So what is your thing? And what's the one thing that you can relate to everybody about, and you can bring them in with just that? Like pizza? Who knew? I don't know. I don't even know what I relate to everybody about. Like, I don't have a pizza thing, but I like to think that my authenticity and like me meeting and networking people and just kind of like making friends organically is kind of another way to go if you don't have like a thing. So just be interesting and let them know how interesting you are. Be consistent with posting if you can be, and if you can't be, don't be too hard on yourself. And be a connector. I know there's a book called The Tipping Point. I can't remember what the other options are, but I'm a connector, and I'm really proud of that. It's something that I do at my gigs, and that helps also build your community. And when you have a community, the funny thing is, you don't have to stay the same, which is great. When I started off my business, it was right before I had my younger son, and I looked like a regular person. And then I had my child, and I was an Oompa Loompa, and I was in the bar, or Fiona from Shrek. I was one of the two. I was huge. I was in a bar with a baby. But yeah, I was pregnant AF, and then I wasn't. And then I had the mom hair, and then I had the mom bob, and then it was like all these different me's, and they stuck with me as I evolved over time, which was great, because even with my purple pixie cut, they were still like telling everybody I was like the best DJ, even like, I hadn't even really put a lot of time and thought and effort into the DJing aspect yet. I really just like built a brand and it took off somehow. So don't worry about having to stay the same. Totally evolve. Your customers and your people that are following you are going to love the evolution and the process and the journey. And they're going to congratulate you and be excited for you. I can't even explain some of the messages I get sometimes. I open up, I'm like, I love people. I can't believe once upon a time I hated all of you. And now, oh my God. Right? So it's kind of cool. And once upon a time, there was a hashtag going around called Blame Steph. And that's because through connecting people, I had a friend who was straight, had a crush, and a friend who was gay. And I was like, I'll just tell him. I'll just see what happens. And so I have talked with my friend who's gay, and now my straight friend and my gay friend are married. And it's freaking cool, because they're like, we blame you, and they're so happy, and it's so cute. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how that happened. I swear to God, I was going to have to break her heart and be like, listen, it's never going to happen. But it really did. And honestly, connections matter, and you helping people make connections matter. And once you have a community, if you have a weekly gig like I do, it's really easy to form this community. They come to me every week once we start getting along, and we party like we're best friends, which is awesome. Because every Sunday I go into my karaoke night, and we drink, we go out on the back patio, we get high. I'm not saying everybody needs to do that. I'm not, but for the last 14 years, that's what I've done. And people know I smoke weed. They come and they bring me weed. They bring me edibles. They're like, here, I thought of you. They bring me little gifts. It's like, why not? Why not just show them who we are? And the most, one thing that's really, really touched me recently was that somebody said that on Sundays I really created a safe space for a very diverse community, which is something I thought I was already doing. But what I started to get more of was the trans community coming in. And it all started with my one trans friend, Brian, who's now Bree. And once she transitioned, the community started to accept and adjust around her. And people who used to call her Brian call her Bree, and she had a plaque in that place, and it was in his name, and they changed the plaque into her name. And so it's really incredible that people feel so comfortable being themselves around me that now, when people come in, they're like, is there a theme going on here? I'm like, no. People are just coming in here to be themselves and have a good time. We're non-judgmental, we're here to have fun, and that's what we do. And that's really what a community is. It's just a bunch of people who have some stuff to relate to, we get along,